Amy here, and I'm going to show you how to put a textured top on a table. Now the story behind this piece is it used to be a giant china hutch, and this is actually back here, this brown piece. This used to be on top of here, and it was a tall, big piece. And so I decided to separate it into two pieces. The bottom is actually a secretary. It pulls out, and I will, when we're done, I will kind of show you what it looks like. But I have my camera propped way up high so you can see. But it is a secretary, and you can see inside here. So I decided to make this into two separate pieces. The top of the china cabinet over back there is going to be turned into a curio cabinet. I'm adding legs to it. And then, but the problem was, is on here, I had a big giant hole in the center of this because it had a piece on top of it. So what I did is I had a board put in here. You'll see some blue paint because I've been experimenting, trying to decide what I'm going to do with this piece. First of all, so what I did is I put a board in here to fill in the hole, so it's one solid top now. This is original. You'll see the light color. That's the new board. So I put a board in here to make it a flat, solid surface. I did not want to make a tabletop for it or make a top for it because underneath this tape, I have beautiful molding, and I did not want to hide the beautiful molding, but you can see by the shape of this, it's not one big giant piece. It has some recessed areas because of the secretary. So I was at a dilemma as to what I'm gonna do. So I've been experimenting. So what I did, like I said, I put the board on there, and then I sanded, smoothed all the edges and puttied anything I needed to have puttied. I used the brown Dixie Belle Mud. And then I sanded it again, and I painted it because I wanted to see what it's gonna look like. Well, with it just being painted, you can slightly see where I recessed and put the board in. So I painted it, and it wasn't enough. So I sanded back the paint and I decided to start over. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add texture to the top. The top needed texture. Just the flat paint wasn't gonna do it. Even if I did a glaze, I just think it needed something, so I'm gonna add texture to it. And we're gonna do that by using Dixie Belle Mud. Now, I have some of the paint left. There's a concoction of all different colors blended together to make this blue. And I put just a tiny little bit in the bottom of my container. And I'm gonna use Dixie Belle White. Now, Dixie Belle comes also in the brown Dixie Belle Mud, and I believe they have black as well. I primarily use the white. But I love this stuff. You see, it's just like mud. So when I use this mud to fill in, like if I have broken veneer and I need to fill in a section, if I have chewed up wood, which a lot of pieces I find have like where dogs chewed on the corners, I will fill it with mud. And then this stuff sands. I sand it with a 400 grit sandpaper. That's how easy it is to sand, and it gives a smooth, glossy surface. It's a lot easier to work with than some of the other wood fillers that I've used in the past. But the Dixie Belle Mud comes in brown, and it comes in black, and it comes in white. And you can lighten the brown by mixing it with white and then stirring it up. I've done that. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna use the white because I'm adding paint to it. I want a colored mud. This is like my third can of this in like the last 3 months. I use this all the time. But so here's the white mud, and it's kind of like, I compare it to my whipped Greek yogurts. That's the consistency. So I'm gonna take a couple big heaping piles. I'll show you how much I'm putting in it. There we go. And you gotta keep your lid on it because it will dry out. So I got the paint in there and the mud in there. I'm gonna stir them together, and it's gonna make a custom colored mud that I can use as a textured medium. And you can see already, oops, you can see already, as you can see, it turns blue. So I'm just, because I want this mud to be the color of the paint that I'm using, or a similar color, in case I decide to do any sanding back of my texture. It's not gonna be like a bright white. It's gonna be the color of paint. And if I decide to do a glaze, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do to the top of this, but if it turns out I wanna do a glaze, I'm not glazing over white, I'm glazing over the color of paint that I'm using. So you can see, it's now the color of my paint. Okay. Next, I'm gonna be using a chip brush, and it's a new chip brush, but it doesn't matter, any chip brush will do. But you're gonna use a chip brush because the reason you're gonna use a chip brush is after you use this, you're gonna be throwing it away or rinsing it out outside. You don't wanna have the mud in your plumbing because when the mud hardens, it will collect in your pipe. So you do not want to clean your brushes if you've been using mud. You do not wanna use it in your sink. So wash it in a bucket outside or with a hose outside and you're good to go. But I'm just using a cheapy throwaway brush. So I'm gonna zoom you in and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna add texture to the top of this table. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna be doing is taking my chip brush and just dabbing it into the mud, getting a big goop of mud on my paintbrush, and I'm gonna stipple it. Kind of like what I do when I do my patina paints. I stipple because I want to have texture. So I'm going to just pounce it all around. I'm gonna cover my entire surface. And I will zoom in when I'm done here so you can see what it looks like. Because right now this is as close as I can get my camera. Because this piece is so tall, my tripod is not tall enough to accommodate. So you're just gonna pounce, and chip brushes will shed. So if you can catch any shedding, pull the hairs out. The only bad thing about chip brushes is they shed. Okay, so you just keep pouncing. And a little bit of this goes a long way. I used, those scoops were probably, I'm thinking 3 tablespoons, maybe, yeah, about 3 tablespoons. And just a little bit of paint. Just enough paint to change the color of the mud. And I taped off my edges because of that pretty molding. I don't want to get this texture medium on the pretty molding. So, I'm gonna do this until I cover the entire board. So, okay, well I'm gonna continue to do this whole top and I'm gonna show you when I'm done. Okay, I'm back. So I finished the top, as you can see here. It turned out nice. So you can kind of see the texture. Let me see if I can zoom in here. So you can see the texture. Now if you get your texture too bumpy, you can still sand it off, but it has that texture to it. You zoom back so you can see. There. So I have colored texture all over the top of this table. Let me show you one more thing. Okay, so let's say you're working on a piece. Like that board right there was a lighter wood. White was by itself is too white. The dark is too dark. You can mix to get a custom color mud without even using paint. This is what I do. I gotta be careful, I'm setting this stuff on a piece I just finished, but it's for our house. So, I would take a little bit of the white. I'm just gonna show a small sample because I don't have anything I need to patch right now, and I don't wanna waste too much of this. So I'll take some white, put it in the cup, and I wanna make that light color that I used on this one. I'll take the brown, and I don't use much of the brown. So I'll take the brown. I'm contaminating it with the white, but I'll take the brown, another spoonful of the brown, and I'll mix it with the white and just stir it up. So you can, mixing the whites, the white, the black, and the brown, you can get any color you want. Now this one I would need to add more white to get that color that I had there. But you just keep blending your colors just like you would paint, and look at how light it is. So, you know, even if your piece is not white, it's not black, it's not like a dark brown, and you're planning on doing some type of technique and you really want this mud to match as close as possible, then just blend the muds together. If you want to make a black, less black, then add white to it to make it more of a gray, or darken up your browns with the black or add white to the browns. You can do anything you want, but I'm just letting you know you can make custom colors. Look how light that turned out. So now I gotta go find something to putty so I don't waste this. I'll find something to putty. But I just want to let you know, so you can blend your mud colors together to get a different colored mud, or you can add the paint. Now, I'm gonna put the lids on before these dry. I love these things. I don't want to waste any of it. Okay, so this I'm gonna let dry for 24 hours. In some areas where I have it thin, it's already starting to dry, but I'm gonna let this dry for a good 24 hours. When it's dry to the touch and not cold, sometimes when you touch it and it's still cold, that means it might not be completely dry. So just give it as much time as you can to dry. And then if you want to sand off any of the peaks, like maybe when you're pouncing, you got some spikes that you don't want on there because you want to be able to keep this dusted and clean. You don't want to have to drag it across spikes. I just take my 400 grit sandpaper, 220 and above is safe. It's 220 and above, and sand those little spikes off there to make it nice and smooth. And it's just gonna have this ripply look. A lot of added texture. So now when this dries on another video, what I'm gonna do is I'm kind of experimenting with different colors of browns, all those browns that are back there. I'm experimenting with, let's see, I have Gravel Road, Chocolate, Sandbar, and what other one do I have? Chocolate, oh, Hurricane. I have Hurricane Gray, Chocolate, Gravel Road, and I might add in some Sandbar, but I'm gonna try to make the top of this look like a leather. That is what I'm gonna attempt. So I'll do that on a separate video, and then I'll show you the after pictures. But this piece, I can take this off now. Okay, so see it's an odd shape. See these inlets? That's why I couldn't build a tabletop, because I didn't want to lose, you know, all this detail. And then here is the secretary piece of this. This is why it's so cool. Little hidden button. It's dusty inside, I'm still working on it. And it turns into a secretary. This is the bottom half of the big China hutch. And I'm selling it. I'm gonna sell it separate. Okay, so I will post pictures on my Facebook page when this baby is all done. Like I said, I'm gonna let the Dixie Belle Mud rest and dry for 24 to 48 hours, and then I'm gonna start working on it. I will do another video to show you how I finish the top, as far as, like I said, I'm gonna be using Dixie Belle Hurricane, Gravel Road, Chocolate, and maybe Sandbar to try to make leather, and I'll do a video on that as well. But I will post pictures on my Facebook page when it's done, so watch for that. If you want to check out Dixie Belle and the Dixie Belle Mud like I used here, or any of the Dixie Belle products, I will have my affiliate link down below. And that's about it. Well, this is Amy with Fashion Toppings and AJ's Vintage Designs. Until next time, I hope you have a great day.